the Streamlabs to kind of give me the okay. I want to make sure everything's okay before I decide to do anything in that regard. Let me know how you guys are doing right now. I mean, I know that this is kind of in some crazy times right now, but Streamlabs to kind of all right, perfect. It works. All right, guys. We are live and we are here to talk about some LA Lakers. Once again, guys, welcome for joining me. I don't know how many times I can say welcome, but welcome for joining me, guys, on the charge today. Like I said, we've got to talk about game number 4, the LA Lakers versus the Miami Heat. I thought this game was a very interesting one at the beginning. Obviously, it got a little more interesting, and Miami Heat were able to keep up at this time. But ultimately, I think what kind of sealed the deal was Anthony Davis stepping up to the plate, getting the 4 blocks. Defensively, the Lakers were at their peak, and Anthony Davis at the 5 is a dream come true. If I could give it a 10 out of 10, I would give it a 12 out of 10 because I think Anthony Davis has to start at center. I think him being the center is something that's going to help the team a lot more than him trying to play the 4. I know that he wants to play the power forward position. I know that's his preferred position, but I'm so glad that he took the challenge and the honus to be the center basically for the game. And I think that, you know, it's positionless basketball. Yeah, Anthony Davis is doing the same role anyway, whether he's a power forward or a center. But it's good to see that he accepted that role, and obviously the 4 blocks were a big indication as to why the Lakers won tonight. Anthony Davis did an amazing job. I think Anthony Davis gets my MVP vote, and he I wouldn't say he gets the edge per se, but I definitely said that he definitely gained back a little bit of the lackluster performance that he had the other night in game number 3. That happened, and it was so disappointing from Anthony Davis that I said, you know, where is he? And tonight he showed up, and that's a really good sign for the LA Lakers. And before we continue to talk about the LA Lakers and Miami Heat, shout out the Seattle Storm for winning the WNBA championship. Sue Bird having an amazing career for what she's done. But yeah, let's just continue talking about this. AD equals MVP. Okay, PM. What did you make of the game, PM? And I know you were watching. Do you think that this is do you think AD took over the MVP race for the finals, or do you think it's still on LeBron's court? Because to me, I still think that LeBron holds the edge. And I know that he sat too much at the end for the dagger 3 and couldn't hit it. Yeah. We also have to talk about this Caruso thing. I think Caruso was very irresponsible for tonight's game. I understand, he's trying to play hard. He's that guy, the hustle guy. I get it. But dude, your hustle is going to get someone hurt. And that is exactly what happened tonight. Luckily, nothing was wrong for Anthony Davis' sake. Because if I know that he tore his ACL or something like that happened, I'm not blaming Jimmy Butler for that. Because literally, I saw you, Caruso, trying to flop your way to another foul, and that's just not going to cut it for me. I'm looking at you, Caruso. I'm hoping that you can get that, whatever garbage that is, and we'll talk about it a little bit later. I get heated because you see that stuff in basketball, you see it in pickup, you see it in other stuff, and it's just dangerous basketball, man. Like it really should be taken out of the game if we could, somehow manage it. But I've never been heated before. But we'll take a look at that much later. But let's kind of look at the stats really quick and kind of look at who was the main reason as to why. Obviously, stats don't tell the whole story. If you look at everything, Danny Green and Caldwell Pope came to play today. I think that was kind of the biggest question mark going into game number 4 was, will Danny Green and Caldwell Pope show up? Because last game they obviously didn't, and that's how they got hurt. And that's why the reason why the Lakers lost, other than Jimmy Butler going off for 40, which he did not do tonight, unfortunately for him. But it still was a very disappointing. It was disappointing for the Miami Heat that those 2 guys showed up tonight, and it was great. 3 of 8 for Caldwell Pope, hit a very clutch dagger 3 at the end of the 4th quarter to really give them the victory, give them the kind of the big lead that they needed to hold on to everything. And Danny Green obviously went 2 of 6, got you 10 points, did a really good job. Dwight Howard not playing that much, good. Defensively, I think they're a lot better without Dwight Howard in the lineup, and the minutes showed as to why that is. And obviously, you got guys like McGee not starting. But Kuzma did his thing, 9 points. Not really much. Morris did his thing, 2 of 7. Obviously, he's going to be a 3-point spot-up shooter. Caruso getting you 7 points. Didn't really do too much other than that. Got a turnover, 2 rebounds, and that's really much it for Caruso. So I think this game came down to the triple-double, or almost triple-double, I should say, from LeBron James, getting 8 assists, 12 rebounds, and 28 points. I thought he was going to go off for 40, but they didn't need that, as they did a really good job of settling down a little bit. LeBron James went 2 of 5 from the three-point land, and Anthony Davis went 2 of 4, but, made some big buckets and hit that big dagger 3 to get them a big lead again, other than, KCP's 3 as well. And really, there's nothing much to talk about from the Lakers' perspective. They lost the turnover battle again. And I think that's the biggest reason why the Miami Heat were still in this game. I think that they did a really good job, but I think that ultimately what happened for Jimmy Butler, obviously playing a little bit less minutes than before, 22 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, almost had a triple-double. Unfortunately for Jimmy Butler, I think that he's kind of ran out of stamina. I think that's kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime game, in my opinion, for a guy like Jimmy Butler, not just due to the fact that I don't think he can do it consistently. I just think for his age and where this team's at, Bam Adebayo provided some solid minutes, gave you some nice rebounding. But ultimately, I thought that they relied too much on him, and I think that they really should have went back to Kelly Olynyk and kind of used him. I think that, only having 12 minutes is definitely not what you want to see from Kelly Olynyk, who brought you some tremendous points, actually did really good things for Game 2 and Game 3, and ultimately gave you a goose egg in Game 4 besides the 4 points. But other than that, didn't really do much. Andre Iguodala hit a 3. Other than that, nothing much. And then, of course, Kendrick Nunn, also, as a rookie, it's expected, went 2 of 11, 2 of 6 from the three-point land, and only gave you 6 points, but gave you 4 rebounds. And that's pretty much it from their perspective. I mean, Tyler Hero defensively is going to be a liability. Duncan Robinson provided to be very useful. Didn't shoot as much, but got 17 points. Crowder went 2 of 7. Definitely not what you want to see from your guys. And ultimately, I just kind of got disappointed with the fact that, Jimmy Butler shot too many threes, in my opinion. I know he shot only 3, but 3 is too many for Jimmy Butler. And there was 1 3, I believe it was in the fourth quarter, where they, had the lead, or they were kind of a little bit down, and he decided to take it and miss it. And I think that's what they wanted Jimmy Butler to do. And unfortunately, I know that if they dare you to take it, you're going to take it. But I think you got to read the room, and you got to read the situation, Jimmy. I know that you're not the best three-point shooter, but you've got to do a better job of it, man, because I think that you're too good to go down 3-1. I think hopefully you can win another one, but we'll see. And I think this is ultimately going to end on Friday. As much as I would love Jimmy Butler to come out and do his thing and make this a game, I wish it was 2-2 right now and not 3-1. But ultimately, I think the Lakers have too much firepower, and Anthony Davis finally came to play tonight, which is amazing to see. Let's see here. About the same amount of free throws. Miami obviously shot a little bit more. 3-point shots. Lakers and the Heat shot about the same percentage, but I think ultimately, both these teams are really tired. And yeah, I think, like I said, this game came down to Anthony Davis making a clutch block, and also a big dagger 3-point shot. And I think that, like I said, is going to carry him to a very nice little MVP run. And maybe if Anthony Davis has a breakout game on Game 4, I think he wins the Finals MVP and LeBron takes a back seat. But that's yet to be seen. But let's kind of go to the play that I thought was probably the most dangerous play in the NBA. I don't want all these videos to play. Pause, please. It was, let's see here. If I can find it. Let me see if it was this one. Nope, not that one. They must have taken... Oh, here we go. This is the one right here. Let me see if I can move my screen. I'll mute it really quick. See if I can bring it over just a little bit so you can see the play. Okay. I think you should be able to see it. Hopefully you can. I'll try and move it more this way so you guys can see. Oh. Hey. Okay, there we go. You should be able to see it now. Let me know. It was this play right here. Caruso, this is the most idiotic thing I think I've ever seen. I hope they show the replay in this kind of clip. Because honestly, Caruso, this is how you get teammates hurt, and this is how people get hurt in basketball, man. This is a punk move. I understand you're trying to get the foul on Jimmy Butler, but look what you did to Anthony Davis. And I'm not trying to say this as like an Anthony Davis apologist, I thought that this was very dangerous. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and kind of reiterate my point here, just even a little bit more. And reiterate it again and again, and I will reiterate it till the cows come home. This is a dangerous freaking play, man. This is absolutely dangerous. Hopefully this can go away so we don't see the little ticker. This is absolutely dangerous. I don't know what Caruso was thinking in that aspect. I understand, like I said, I know you're trying to get a foul on Jimmy Butler. I understand that. I get it. But to me, that is so freaking dangerous, man. You literally hurt one of your best players, and if he's not playing, the Lakers are not the same team, and the Lakers are probably not going to win a championship if he's not playing in the game. But the fact that you pushed, I understand you're trying to draw the foul, you complain to the ref. I'm tired of Caruso's antics. I'm tired of a situation like that, man. I understand, people are going to say it's not that serious, but to me, man, that is serious. I'm tired of, giving a backseat to Caruso and what he's done, man. Absolutely dangerous, absolutely stupid of Caruso to do that, man. I really, really am frustrated with that. I think that that's dangerous. I understand you got pushed. I get it. But when you flop and you flop into somebody, that's not okay. You have to read the room. I understand you're trying to draw the foul. I understand you're not trying to force your way there, but you also try to add a little embellishment to it. And that's how you get your players hurt. So, Caruso, you're lucky AD was able to continue in the game and able to play, because if that was something even more serious, I think Lakers fans would be at your heads right now, because like I said, it's dangerous, it's stupid, and it gets your players hurt. And I'm tired of Caruso flopping all over the place. I understand he's trying to draw fouls. I understand he's trying to do many different things. But in my honest opinion, and in my humble opinion, it was just a dumb play. And I wish that he would relax, not get into these type of antics, because that's, like I said, that's how an ACL tear happens. That's how something in your knee happens. And then you see Anthony Davis out for a game or two, and then it's just complete, utter chaos. So, Caruso, do a better job. Take care of what's going on at hand. And to be honest with you, I think that the Lakers could do a lot better than Caruso. That's kind of my Caruso rant. We won't go on to many other things about Caruso that, kind of angers me, but that's kind of the biggest thing for me was the Caruso thing, because like I said, it's a dangerous play, it's a stupid play, and that's how players get hurt. And it's really frustrating to see that, one of your best players could have actually gotten, not career ending, but, season ending injuries due to that stupidity. And I understand Jimmy Butler pushed you. I get it. But he didn't push you to the point where you're falling basically flat on your face, and instead you're looking for the foul, and that's why you got a technical earlier in the game. And it's enough of that, Caruso. You're a much older player than that. You're a much more experienced player than that, and it's time to grow up a little bit, because that's embarrassing, Caruso. And that's kind of my Caruso rant for now. Like I said, it's just I just hate seeing that in basketball. I just don't want to see that type of antics, that type of behavior be condoned by the NBA. I hope that they won't fine him, but if I'm the Lakers, I'm probably looking at him sideways and being like, bruh, did you really need to flop right there to get a foul call? Because you almost cost us a player. And that's kind of, if LeBron James were, LeBron James would catch you slipping. But it is what it is. I know it's a tough because it's the final, but should the Lakers be putting this away more without drawing? I mean, to be honest with you, PM, I think that the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra are doing a really good job of counteracting some of the moves. If you saw some of the movement today, PM, they really did a good job of really using, attacking Anthony Davis. I mean, defensively, they attacked him a little bit more at the beginning. They tried to, get him off ball screens and get Butler some nice advantages, and it was really nice to see that. And that's kind of something that a lot of people don't like to or won't really notice about it. But I think ultimately, I think a lot of these teams are tired. I think that when we watch these NBA Finals games, when these players are playing their hearts out, I think they're all tired. I mean, we saw LeBron James, brick 2 threes and then end up getting a foul. And I think that just kind of shows you the level and the intensity and all the other stuff from the beginning of the bubble to where they're at right now, where they're one game away from winning the championship. I think that they really should have won. What was it? Game number 3. I think that game they really should have won. Obviously, LeBron James had an uncharacteristic game, but it seems like it's happening a little bit more often in the bubble. I'll have to check the stats throughout the whole playoffs and all that stuff, but it seems like he's been, turning over the ball a little bit more than I'm accustomed to or even liking to, because, turnovers lead to points and opportunities on the other side. But offensively, I think the Heat are finding a way, but I think tonight the Heat made a wrong chess move by not playing Olynyk as much. I understand that Bam Adebayo is back. I understand you want to play him as he's your superstar, but ultimately I don't think it was the right move. And I for the people saying that Dragic might come back, he's not coming back. That when you tear a plantar, I don't care who you are, that hurts. And obviously I've never had it before. I've had plantar fasciitis, and even for like a normal person, that hurts, and you have to get insoles and other stuff like that. It's a whole process. So I can't even imagine tearing that ligament in your foot and then saying like, yeah, I'm gonna play. Like I understand. Like it's too much pain. And I don't understand how people are saying, oh, he might come back. But I don't think he's coming back. I think that ultimately this is going to be the end on Friday. The Lakers win their championship, and ultimately I think I see LeBron James winning his finals MVP, as he's going to put in a triple-double performance. He's going to make sure that he gets a triple-double on Friday. I believe that's when the game is. So I don't really see that much from the other guys, man. Like I wish that it was a more competitive series. I wish that Goran Dragic was at full strength, because I think it would have been a fun series to watch, whether or not the Heat would have lost in 3 or 4 games. But like I said, it is what it is, and we'll kind of move on to kind of looking at Twitter and kind of seeing what's going on for the Lakers and whatnot for the Twitter sphere. Like I said, KCP did a really good job tonight. You're kind of looking at all these people from Twitter. Not sure why it's mostly in Spanish. Not sure why most of it's in Spanish, but looks like that it is what it is in that aspect. We'll kind of listen to Bam Adebayo. We'll listen to all that live stuff in just a little bit, but I just kind of want to look at Twitter and see what people are talking about. LeBron James is looking locked and loaded. The job's not done. He's ready to get his W. We see here that free throws made. LeBron James is moving up the list. He's now in top 5. He just passed Elgin Baylor, which is great company when you have Jerry West, Bill Russell, and many other players like that, doing their thing. And I think, again, guys, it just came down to, again, the Lakers just defensively were a much better team. And like I talked about many, many times, and I'll keep saying this till the cows come home, Anthony Davis needs to be the starting 5. I don't care about Dwight Howard and his defensive player of the year. They're just so much better with Anthony Davis and playing a little bit smaller and having Anthony Davis be the center and actually be, as a defensively, that's the team that they have. I feel like they're so much better. I feel like they do such a better job. And we see here LeBron James, Anthony Davis celebrating after a dagger 3. Let's kind of rewatch the tape.
Rondo makes his move.
Kind of muted so we don't get copyright stricken, and we see that big 3 bang, and we see that Anthony Davis took over, and the Miami Heat right now are holding an emergency meeting to see who's the fraudulent player, and ultimately I think the fraudulent player is not playing with Kelly Olynyk. I know that's crazy for me to say. I've kind of slighted him at the past, with the way that he's fouled people. It's a problem when he's in the game. Fouling wise, it's kind of concerning, but ultimately, like I said, I think going back to the Anthony Davis point, they play so much better defensively without Dwight Howard. I don't care what anybody says, and I think the big indication of that is the 8 minutes that he played. I just think that defensively they can move around a little bit more. Dwight Howard isn't such a liability when it comes to shooting, when it comes to stretching out the floor, because Dwight Howard's useless if he's stretched all the way out and you have to guard Kelly Olynyk, compared to if you have a guy like Anthony Davis who can actually guard perimeter players. And we saw what he did to Jimmy Butler at the end of the game with his 4th block. And just looking at this, we see here that LeBron James is hyped up. He's celebrating. And this is the play right here. This is kind of what sealed the deal for me. Bang. You could call a foul. You can call whatever. Jimmy didn't get the superstar treatment, but it's a great block. It's a great block by Anthony Davis. Like I said, you can call a foul. I don't really see a foul, but, it is what it is. No, the Lakers are 1 win away from tying the Boston Celtics, which is kind of a dagger to the heart. I won't lie. Let's see here. See LeBron James hyped up and celebrating. This right here, I think this was kind of the turning point. I know it's not the full highlight, but this right here, guys, off a pass, you see Jimmy Butler. This is what they okay, there we go. This is what they wanted you to shoot. I think this is kind of what I didn't want to see from Jimmy Butler. Was given this opportunity. I wish I had the full play at hand, because this is the three that I wish he didn't take. And like I said, it leads to a transition three. Like, that's the one that they want Jimmy Butler to shoot that one. And that leads ultimately to the transition buckets. And KCP hit the clutch three, and that's what brought him up, 93 to 88. I think that was the turning point for the LA Lakers in that sequence. And it sucks to say that, but ultimately, I think that's what I have to say about that. Like, that three ultimately was one of the killers. And I'm sure Eric Spoelstra will probably be looking back at the tape and looking at that sequence and being like, Jimmy, I know you're my superstar, but gosh dang it, I did not want you to shoot that three. I want you to drive an attack or do something. I don't know what the shot clock situation was at that point. I don't think it was anything. See, like 17 seconds on the shot clock. It's early for the NBA, that is. And ultimately, I just think that was the wrong shot to take. And yes, Gabby, yes, babe, Lakers in 5. I think it's Lakers in 5 again. I don't see the Lakers, wanting to go to the weekend. Obviously, not being Saturday and Sunday. They don't want these to drag out to Saturday and Sunday. They want to finish it on Friday, end of the week. Thank God it's Friday, and they just want to finish the game. So I really see that happening. I think that the LA Lakers are going to close it out, and I think LeBron James is going to win his 3rd Finals MVP on a different team. Like I said, I think it's one of those things, and kind of looking at that bucket once again, it was just a disappointing bucket to look at. And we kind of see here, the snarl, and then we got the face. I mean, it's just kind of, it is what it is at this point. You see here with the flex on the and one from LeBron James. And it just kind of sucks to see that, Duncan Robinson hit a buzzer beating 3. And no, I don't think AD is going to win the finals MVP. I think last game 3 performance was absolutely terrible from him. He was missing, didn't really shoot that much. I understand he was in foul trouble, but did not make an impact like LeBron James did, even in the loss. You can take the small victories here and there if you want to say they're small victories in games. But yeah, ultimately it was just a disappointing situation from AD, and I don't think that he's going to recover from that. Even though he made up for it today with 4 blocks and really did a good job, I think LeBron James is still going to win it. And let's kind of listen into Jimmy Butler, who's down here. Let me see if I can kind of drag this up to the top and see if we can listen in.
That it stays high, because it's going to have to be at an all-time high to get this next win.
Malika here in the front.
Jimmy, what was your reaction when you found out that Bam was available to come back and play, and how was it having him back out there?
I was happy for him. I think the entire team and organization was happy for him too. He does so many things for us. Another guy that can handle the ball, that can score the ball, defend, rebound, all of that good stuff. And I think that as we get him back into it and he watches the film with everybody else, he's going to see how he can really, really, really put his imprint on the game. So I'm excited to have him back, and we're going to do something special with him.
Next question, Jared Weiss.
Let's listen to one more question, and then we'll kind of talk again.
Series, players are talking about how they have to make little adjustments with the scheme and things like that. But you guys were able to force a lot of misses at the end there, and then they would just get the offensive rebound. So Spo said that the next game needs to be kind of one in the mud. Do you feel like there's some sort of adjustment that needs to be made, or you just got to keep fighting and doing what you're doing?
Keep fighting. It's kind of a backbreaker, though, whenever you get a stop and then they get the offensive rebound. We talk about it, and then it happens. And it's crucial possessions late in the 4th. I got to get in there and help rebound everybody. We just got to put our nose in that basketball and get it up out of there. So I'm excited to see how we bounce back. It's our time to bounce back, but I know we can do it.
All right, guys, and let's kind of look at the rebounding category for these guys. I think that's kind of another factor. And for those of you joining, I will talk about the Caruso thing again. I kind of reiterated with the people that were in the chat already. But we'll kind of reiterate it because, like I said, it's a dangerous play and it's an idiotic play. And God, does it really grinds my gears, like to not be like so serious about it for a second. It's so annoying when that happened. We'll talk about it later. Like I just can't deal with it right now. Offensive rebounding wise, it wasn't really that much of a difference, about the same, 42-39. But there was just some key buckets that were really led to a win for the LA Lakers. I mean, like I said, the 2 missed threes from LeBron and then getting a foul and making his free throws. I mean, that's a huge one to me. I think that's the one where I just kind of get a little frustrated with the Miami Heat. I think the 3-point shot has definitely made rebounding a little bit more trickier because of how long the rebounds are now. That offensive teams can get it, and you're just basically going to volleyball tap it back. And then you kind of reset, everything's all set up, and then you just get right back into the offense. So definitely something that you see in the NBA a lot more often, and maybe now in college and high school you're going to see a lot more often. I think we do see it at the high school level where I coach. You definitely see kind of those long rebounds, and we kind of preach to the guys, make sure you find a body, but also make sure you high point the ball. If you're in the paint, if it's coming up, you box your guy out and you grab the ball. Rebounding is just an effort thing to me. You don't have to be the most skilled player. You don't have to be the best offensively gifted player, as long as you rebound. And that's just due to hustle. And I think that's kind of what the Lakers did tonight. They had a little more hustle, obviously, with Caruso. Like I said, we'll talk about that in a second. That's the type of results you're going to get from Rondo. The tap back steal. I really hate that ESPN just autoplays videos now. It's like, dude, I'm not trying to watch these videos. But like I said, you got to give your hats off to Anthony Davis and LeBron James for tonight's performance. Still 6 turnovers for LeBron James. Not necessarily a fan of that. I think he could do a lot better job. And I think he will at some point. So we'll see what happens with the recovery. But yeah, for those of you who just joined us and kind of want to, why I titled it, Caruso Stop Flopping, is the fact that he almost got his teammate hurt. Anthony Davis, there was a collision where, Jimmy Butler gave a slight little nudge. I wouldn't say it's something egregious as to where Caruso would flop. Or I should say, like, to a point where Caruso is going to, tip over and attack his player. But it's definitely one of those things where you could definitely hurt your player. It could be a serious injury, and it's just frustrating to the nth degree as to why Caruso would do that. Because honestly, it sucks to see that he would hurt Caruso. Like, I understand that Caruso's the hustle guy. I was the hustle guy in high school. I'm the hustle guy at, LA Fitness, 24. It is what it is. There's people have to fill that role. Someone has to do it. So I say, why not me? And so I do that role. I do it effectively, but I'm doing it smart. And I think Caruso right now is being a little reckless with the way that he's flopping, like the way that he's doing things. I understand you're guarding Jimmy Butler, and he may have given you a little slight nudge, but still, ultimately, it's frustrating to see that Caruso flopped and almost got his teammate hurt, and it could have been a more serious injury. And it's just kind of a situation where I don't want to see Caruso do those type of things. Stop going for the knee. Like, I understand that you're flopping, but you got to understand that there's teammates there. And it's just frustrating. I know you're trying to draw the foul. I know that you got, intensity is high. Like, everything is like so, high intensity. Every single play counts. Every single play matters, especially for Caruso, who plays about 26 minutes, 28 minutes, 22, plays a solid role for the team. And so he needs to do a better job, in my opinion, of not hurting his other teammate. It's frustrating to watch, and I wish that he would do a much better job of not flopping. Like I said, I love the energy, I love the tenacity, but your flopping is going to hurt somebody. And there's a reason why you got a technical foul tonight. Like, it's just not what I want to see from Caruso, man. I think they could do a much better job. They could do a little bit more of making sure that he doesn't hurt anybody, but I think that's something that hopefully LeBron James, Rajon Rondo, and many other players talk to him about, because like I said, it's an accident waiting to happen, and it's gonna be a situation where you're gonna see someone get seriously hurt, and it's gonna be a thing where you're like, oh well, now we're without Anthony Davis. Like, what do we do? it's not, it's mind numbing to me. I think it really, like I said, it grinds my gears, and it's really frustrating to kind of see what's going on in that arena where Caruso is potentially could get someone hurt because he's flopping. Like I said, don't want to see it. I don't want to see the flops. I don't want to see you attack your other players and kind of, look, man, you just got to the league a couple years ago, maybe last year. You're an undrafted guy, but do yourself a favor, do yourself a service to your team, and not flop to the point where you're going to hurt somebody. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I love the hustle, I love the tenacity, but you're going to hurt somebody, and that's going to be bad news for the LA Lakers. If this was LeBron James, knock on wood, because LeBron James is one of the healthiest superstars ever. Last year's groin injury was an anomaly. But let's say Caruso does the same thing he did last night, or he did tonight in game 5. He's going to cause a big injury, and it's just, I want to make sure that players are protected from that. And so, do yourself a service. Don't flop every single time, man. It's going to get someone hurt, and especially, where millions of dollars, NBA championships, legacies are on the line. Please do yourself a favor and don't flop like that. It's frustrating to watch, and it's an eyesore to all basketball players everywhere. And that's kind of basically it, guys. I mean, there's nothing really much to talk about in a lot of situations. Like I said, tonight's game came down to defensively, the Lakers were on point. The Miami Heat did their job, but ultimately they kind of fell short. Jimmy Butler, 8 of 17, 22 points, but 0 of 3 from three-point land, which is definitely not what you want to see from Jimmy Butler. Tyler Hero, defensive liability, that's kind of like his biggest issue, in my opinion. And kind of going down to the Miami Heat stats and kind of talking about each and every player. They really shortened up their bench. I mean, we didn't see Miles Leonard play, who did a really good, who did a tremendous job, and I thought that they could have used him again tonight. But, when you have Bam Adebayo, it takes away minutes from Miles Leonard. Let's see here. None, obviously, 2 of 11 is absolutely horrendous, and he needs to do a better job. I understand, shooters got to shoot, but there's some points where it's just like, come on, man, you got to read the room, you got to read how you're playing, and make the right play and decision. And so I think that's mostly it for what I want to talk about for game number 4. Like I said, this 4th game, it's kind of the crowning moment for the LA Lakers. All the LA Lakers have to do is win on Friday, and they become the NBA champions of not only the NBA, but also the bubble as well. And so I'm looking forward to the LA Lakers winning their championship and kind of looking at the post game. I think that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I think that's how most NBA fans should look at it. I know it's very pessimistic, even for Heat fans. I think they should be doing the same. Yes, babe, go Dodgers. I just don't think the Miami Heat have it. I think the one game was one game too many. And I think that the LA Lakers are going to win on Friday and kind of get out the champagne. Obviously, they're not going to get the brooms out, but they're going to get the champagne out. They're going to get the Larry O'Brien trophy back with them, bring it back to Tinseltown in LA, and enjoy a nice, LeBron James is going to enjoy some nice wine, go to the country somewhere in his probably summer home, train with Bronny, discipline Bronny maybe for what happened. We'll see about that. That's just a joke. But nevertheless, like I said, LeBron James going to enjoy his 4th NBA championship, which, well deserved. Probably Hall of Fame career. He's my GOAT. I see him as probably the best player, that I've ever seen play. And that's not to discredit Michael Jordan. I just never saw him play that much. So that's, to me, the reason why LeBron James is the GOAT for me. And he's such a tremendous player. An Iron Man of sorts. This could be a LeBron James love fest channel, you could say. But I really think that he's that good, and I think that he's getting slighted a little bit sometimes, and it sucks to say that, because I think that people take for granted what he's been able to do all these years. I think that it's kind of one of those things where I know that he's an awesome player. I get it, but I just think that people kind of take his greatness for granted, and I think a finals MVP, well deserved, and maybe should have won to this year's MVP. But like they say in America in 2020, it is what it is. Let's see if LeBron James has said anything. Oh, here we go. Let's see LeBron James's talk.
He was able to, finding AD just kind of stared at the shot clock, knew it was late in the shot clock, and obviously trusted his shot that he works on consistently. So big time shot, big time play for our team to be able to put the game away.
Ron, Spo just said over here that this game being tight back and forth the entire time, that it came down to moments of truth. You guys won more than they did at the end. But when AD hits that shot and you're doing the Ric Flair and screaming a little bit, is there a different kind of satisfaction when y'all are so tight all night long and then you have that kind of a breakthrough at that point?
Well, you kind of know momentum plays, momentum shots, on the score, the time, what's going on, within the last few possessions. They were going back and forth, with us, and we were going back and forth with them. Duncan Robinson hits one off the glass at the end of the shot clock for a three. Bam hits one off the glass, and, right there before we thought that possibly went in. Obviously, it didn't count. Hero hit some big shots. So we were, Jay Crowder, me and, Doe had a clean rebound. We both going for it. We smash each other in the paint. They kick it out to Jay Crowder. He hits a shot. So, to be able to, get some stops and then make a timely shot up 6, kind of, if you make that shot, that 3 to put you up 9 at that point in time of the game, then you kind of want to get one more stop, obviously, but it's, you got the time on your side. And because it's a 3-possession game with 39 seconds. Most veteran ball clubs will be able to survive that. But just a big time play, big time moment, for not only for AD, but for our ball club, and for our franchise.
LeBron, what is an extra day of rest mean in a very physical series like this, and does it matter more to you now than
Okay.
it used to?
We don't.
No,
that's not a question that I'm kind of interested in. But LeBron James talked about those momentum plays, and I think that ultimately the Lakers had more momentum plays than the Heat had tonight. And you can kind of clearly see that by the big 3 that not only KCP hit, but also Anthony Davis hit. And those were big momentum plays. We also saw the and one from LeBron James where he was flexing on the ground. And yes, babe, I understand he's losing his hair, but he's still the GOAT. All GOATs lose their hair at some point. So I think that ultimately, like I said, the Miami Heat had a great game plan. I think they did a really good job of kind of adjusting to what the Lakers were doing. But ultimately, at the end, it just was not enough. And Jimmy Butler, I think, expended way too much energy in game number 3, where I think that, maybe he could have saved a little bit to give it to game number 4. But with Bam Adebayo not healthy, with Goran Dragic not really up to snuff, it just sucks to see that, the Heat couldn't really compete with the LA Lakers at full strength. It sucks that they're kind of at this sort of, they have to contend with basically a handicap. But, that's happened to Steph Curry. That's happened to LeBron James. That's happened against LeBron James, with his teammate situation. So I can't really be too mad, and I can't really be too upset. And that's kind of going to be it, guys. I mean, like I said, LeBron James did a tremendous job tonight. Anthony Davis absolutely, stepped up from game number 3 and actually gave you clean blocks, actually gave you an opportunity to win the game. And he did so with his defense. And that's an amazing thing to see. And let's kind of go to Real GM really quick and see if there's any sort of basketball news. I know Alvin Gentry is going to be joining the Sacramento Kings. That's an interesting move and kind of situation you have right here. Gentry going to be moving there. You see kind of situations. Mike Brown going to interview for the Clippers position. That's going to be an interesting one. I would actually be really curious to see if he'd be able to do that. We kind of see Michelle Roberts, the NBA will remain an incredible revenue generating machine. I think that's going to be ultimately true. I think ultimately what's going to hurt the league is going to be the fact of the ticket sales, right? If you're able to sell tickets for $200 a pop, you can fit 40,000 in the stand. That's almost like 128 million revenue for the year. I mean, or just from these games. I mean, let's kind of look at this, right? If we could look at the calculator, let's see here. The $200 a pop, selling that to 42,000 people. That's 8 mil, and depending, and you times that by 82 because that's how many games are in a regular season. You're missing on a big chunk of revenue there. And I think that ultimately the NBA has to decide. I know that, they're really against the bubble, and I don't think that they're ever going to do the bubble again. I think, we see a lot of people saying, oh, why is not everybody doing the bubble? The NBA did it right. But I think ultimately the players were very against the bubble at the beginning, and they were kind of, Caruso. They were kind of, persuaded to go to the bubble, I should say. And I just think that cost effective wise and everything that comes from tickets, everything that comes from not having fans there really affects the bottom line for these owners. And, we can make a fuss about, billionaire owners and whatnot, but, it's a lot of money to continue this operation. It pays for LeBron James's salary, it pays for Anthony Davis' salary, it pays for all these NBA players' salaries. And if we want to enjoy basketball, if we want to enjoy sports, the NBA and all these other leagues are going to have to figure out how to bring fans back into the games. I understand that, COVID is a real situation. I get it. But ultimately, I think if Dodgers cheated. But ultimately, at the end, I think what I'm going to have to say about that is that the interesting thing about the NBA is that they're going to have to figure something out revenue-wise, because I don't think the players are going to do the bubble again. I think they're going to do what all these other leagues are doing, is that they're going to self-quarantine by themselves and then, go together and not really, mingle with anybody else. And I think that's kind of the safest route, even though we're kind of seeing an outbreak in the NFL. I know that some people have called for the league to stop. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the MLB kind of showed you that, you have to be a little bit more stricter with some of the rules. You have to be a little bit more precise, and you have to really kind of lay down the law when it comes to that stuff. So I definitely can see that coming for the LA Lakers, in my opinion. We kind of see here that Adam Silver and Michelle Roberts met on Sunday to set foundation for bargaining talks. I think that's also going to be a huge one for the NBA players, because obviously if the regular season doesn't happen like it normally does, then I think the NBA owners can just tear up that bargaining agreement and make a new one. And I think that's really going to hurt the players in this aspect, because of how much of the revenue split they get, how much of the money that they get, how much money goes to what they need to do to facilitate things, to get everything all situated. And like I said, the owners don't want to lose money. So I'm curious to see how those negotiations go, because like I said, there's no real winner if the negotiations are far off, if no one's able to do it. So we'll see about that. Like it's just kind of a curious situation. So let's go to the main storyline here and kind of see if there's any NBA news to talk about really quick before we sign out of here. See here, let's see here. Russell Westbrook. Shout out to Westbrook for that. Having a $8K tip for a hotel staff, that's awesome. I'm glad that we can rip on Russell Westbrook for his play, but I really enjoy him giving opportunities to other people. So, and it is what it is in that aspect. We got some heat going on in the chat about some Dodger talk. This is not a baseball channel. I'm not sure if it ever will be, but baseball, it's a very interesting sport. I love watching it. But definitely more on the NBA and NFL side. And other than that, guys, that's really it. I mean, like I said, shout out Westbrook for the hotel tip. And yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for tonight's video. Again, the Miami Heat they just did not have enough juice to kind of get over the finish line, as Anthony Davis and Caldwell Pope hit some dagger threes to win the game, and LeBron James almost had another triple-double to solidify his Finals MVP case. Like I said, game number 5, it's going to be the end of this long, tumultuous season that started in March, or ended in March, and kind of began once again as the Phoenix rose. And we're seeing them finish out the season these next couple of weeks, and we're going to see if LeBron James is going to win his next NBA championship. I think, like I said, this is going to put him in that GOAT conversation. He's already my GOAT. He's number 1 in my book, but to other people, he's going to need to win a couple more. And this is kind of what LA Laker fans are expecting. This is what they demanded when LeBron James signed here for LA, was to win championships. And now with AD, it makes it that much more sweeter that they're able to get a championship and also a young player in Anthony Davis to be the superstar of their team and kind of have a Shaq and Kobe-like tandem in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining me here on The Charge. Again, guys, it was an awesome game. Ultimately, the Miami Heat just came up just a little bit short, and we'll see what happens for game number 5. But just expect some champagne, expect the Larry O'Brien trophy to be in the LA locker room, and LeBron James smoking his signature cigar, wearing his, whatever, gimmick that he likes to wear. It was the Ultimate Warrior shirt. It was the Kermit the Frog sipping the tea hat. Whatever it is, that's going to do it here, guys, on The Charge. Once again, thank you for joining me here on the live stream. Like I said, the Lakers won 102-96. And to kind of reiterate the point, Caruso, stop flopping because you're going to hurt your teammates. But anyway, guys, like I said, thank you once again for joining me in the live chat or in the comment section down below if you're rewatching this video or if you're watching this at a later date. Anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining, and I'll catch you on the next live stream or video. Peace.